Hello, my name is Recky. Welcome back for another reaction. We're going to go back to one of my favorite channels right now. It's Lost in the Pond, and the title is 7 Outdoor Objects I Never Saw Before Moving to America. And I'm trying to figure out, like, one outdoor object. Because he's from UK, and I'm from Sweden. There shouldn't be any weird differences, but I can't for the life of me understand what is outdoors. If you want to check out Lost in the Pond, which I highly recommend, the link for the channel and this video we're going to watch is available in the description. Go there and give them the support that they so much deserve. And if you do enjoy the content, don't forget to smack the like and of course hit that subscribe. That's how I know you enjoy my content and you want to see more. Before we watch, a big thank you to my channel members and my patrons. Thank you so much. A big shout out to the Supreme Tier donators over by Patreon. And of course, channel membership. God bless. Personal shout outs to the ultimate supporters. Deja, Walt, Ronnie, Dwayne, Tammy, Kevin, Dana, Troy, Sarah, Robert, Matt, Ryan, and Tracy. Thank you. Thank you. Now, what the hell is outdoors?
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And speaking of lost, I'm starting to lose my marbles being in quarantine so long, and being here for now, I think it's 8 days. I've been giving some thought to some of the things that I miss about the outside world. And, you know, I'm not just talking about sort of fast food joints that are different in both countries, but sort of just really random mundane objects. You know, like a wheelbarrow, for example. I'm not suggesting we don't have wheelbarrows in England. That's an example of a mundane object. And I want to talk about specifically 7 of those objects that I hadn't seen until I moved to America.
Steel.
Yep,
Oh,
I'm really longing for those water towers, steel water towers specifically, because we do have water towers in Britain, but they're concrete and look really brutalist and like they were made in the 60s. In America, all across the country, they have these kind of water towers that are they're in the middle of nowhere usually, and they're made of steel, and on the facade of them, they have the name of the town, and it's usually something like Snakesville. And you never see anybody near them or in them. I don't know what they'd be doing in them, perhaps replenishing the water. I don't know how water towers work. I just know that America has a lot of them, and you see them when you're on the highway, motorway, just like our next entry.
oh, hell yeah.
Yes, highway-based billboards. Who would have thought? I certainly wouldn't have until I moved to the United States. And that's because we don't really have them in Britain. We do have them in city centres, but you're not going to find them on the side of the road.
Where I live, there is no billboards whatsoever. None.
You know, because it's distracting, especially when it says something, you know, profound like Jesus has risen. You're going to take notice of that and, you know, crash into the car in front of you. And if you don't have insurance, then you are screwed. Ironically, a lot of the billboards are for insurance, so at least you know who to call. I joked a moment ago about the kinds of things you might see on American highway billboards, but the truth is, anyone can really get an ad on those things. They often say, advertise here if there's nothing on it. And unless you have A, no heart, and B, a death wish, you also wouldn't want to crash into the back of one of these. Yellow school buses. I didn't grow up here as a child, so of course I never got to ride one.
Nope. We just have normal buses. We got city buses, which is green here, and the buses that go outside city limits are yellow, and school buses, well, they look like buses. Normally it's companies that the school or the municipality hires them to buzz the kids to school.
Probably never will, unless I become a bus driver or a parent on some sort of school trip. Do they do that? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, growing up, I did see school buses, yellow school buses, in films like Superman and Forrest Gump. Those are just examples of films, but I didn't think they existed in real life. This was quite a revelation to me. They're everywhere. It's not just in Indiana where I lived. It's also in Chicago. It's everywhere. I mean, you do see these yellow school buses everywhere, and I recognize that the majority of my audience is American, and this is probably profoundly weird to hear somebody talk about how yellow school buses are very widespread in this country, but I don't think they're used anywhere else in the world, or at
Which is completely insane because you cannot miss a yellow bus, can you? Just saying.
least to my knowledge. They're certainly not used in Britain. I used to get to school by jogging. That's not true. I did take the bus, but it was one of those sort of stagecoach buses, double-decker, so I got to sit on top, not at the back with the cool kids, at the front actually, and but they weren't yellow. And as you can see, I like yellow. I'm wearing this in solidarity with the school children. I'm not. It's the first thing I found in my wardrobe. I'd be lying if I said that yellow school buses were the only outdoor object that I learned through the films. That also applies to our next entry.
White picket fences. Every now and then you can see it, but it's not something you see on a regular basis here. I cannot sit here and say that I know exactly where to find a white picket fence. So, yeah. We don't have that. Well, like I said, it's rare, but some houses have it.
White picket fences, the like of which you see in the film American Beauty and other such suburban-based films. It reminds me of American suburbia now that I've lived here long enough, but for the longest time, it was just part of the sort of movie set for me to make something look very pristine and idyllic and all of that. You'll occasionally see white picket fences here in different parts of Chicago. They're kind of rare, I suppose, but you do tend to see them at houses of families who've really taken care of their garden, okay? And in Britain, we don't have these kind of fences. A lot of our gardens are sort of framed off by brick walls or sometimes just shrubs and bushes and things. That's not a euphemism. You'll also see in the US mesh fences around gardens as well. They're kind of low down, they're just high enough that dogs can jump over them but never do because they're...
I don't see that often here too. I don't think we have a lot of fences in Sweden, to be honest. Well, except the present Recky with the barbed wire.
Too stupid, and they seem like they're there to just sort of stop people from breaking in, especially those fences that have beware of the dog on the side. Now please, America or anyone watching this, don't take this as a green light to think you can go and burgle people's houses in Britain. They still have security measures and fences too. I'm underplaying it, but we don't have white picket fences. We also don't have these.
Well, that's not true. What do you mean by that? Front yard? What is he talking about? So the mailman got to go in all the way through the yard to the door? Well, we do have front yard mailboxes in Sweden. It's quite common, to be honest.
Allow me to clarify, our houses do have mailboxes in the United Kingdom, except our mail doesn't go into a mailbox, it goes into a letterbox, and our mail's called the post. I hope that was clear. And those letterboxes are usually on the front door, right? So letterman or postman, Letterman is a chat show host. Postman, post women, post people, right? They have to go right up to the door and become intimate with your house. Not so in the United States, or at least not always. You will have those kind of houses where just in front of their garden or yard, they'll have a mailbox that's sticking on kind of a pole, and there's...
We don't have that type of the box that you guys in the United States. Basically, we have like a box like this. You can pull it up and draw it down. I have it right outside by the yard limit.
Just this tube, I suppose, a metal tube into which you put things, and then people have to go out and get it. I suppose it does promote exercise, which is needed in these quarantine days. We just don't want to come into contact with the post people or mail people. It doesn't matter what you call them; they're the same entity. Well, the different people. You get the point, basically. Don't touch the post people. And if you do, wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap, making sure not to get your water from one of these.
We don't have any fire hydrants whatsoever in Sweden. I have never seen a fire hydrant. No fire hydrants.
I'll tell you a story. When I was 19 years old, I was a big gamer. I was well into video games, and one of the video games that I played was a little game called Die Hard with a Vengeance. And you're just swanning around New York City, I think, probably, and you can crash your car into just stuff, right? And one of those stuffs was a fire hydrant, a very American-looking fire hydrant that looks like this. They're more or less cylindrical, speaking in a pitch that only dogs recognise, and I only describe them as that to differentiate them from fire hydrants in Britain. Fire hydrants in Britain are nowhere near as sexy, and believe me, I didn't think I'd wake up today and say that either. They're just these brutalist-looking square things with an H on them, and no, they're not for landing miniature helicopter, nor do they signify a hospital. I actually don't know what they do. If a fire breaks out in the middle of the road, when does that ever happen? I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know how to operate these things, right? Who does? The experts. Whereas American fire hydrants are absolutely gorgeous. They kind of look like elongated fireman helmets. Was that on purpose? Again, for the benefit of the dogs. It can't have been, and I'm absolutely certain I wouldn't have made the correlation had I not been stuck in here for 8 days. I'm going mad, you know. How does the outside world look right now? Do people still have wind chimes? Do they still, do they still raise these?
Very, very rare to see a Swedish flag. And it's actually... I'm going to reserve a couple of things. I'm not sure that it actually is this, but you're not allowed to flag whenever you want to in Sweden. We got flag days, but you can raise it, but it needs to be brought down before, I think it's 6 p.m. or before it gets dark. There's a lot of rules to it, but it's really rare to see the Swedish flag wave majestically over someone's yard. Every now and then you see it, but it's quite rare.
The American flag, and I suppose there's a very good reason as to why I didn't encounter this until I moved to America, and it's because it's America's flag, so that makes total sense right off the bat. I think in Britain, pound for pound, we probably, or at least when I lived there, didn't fly the flag, the British flag, as much as America tends to fly its flag. It's very culturally ingrained to do that, isn't it?
Yeah,
my
definitely.
in-laws do it. Everybody does it. Even educated fleas do it. That would be impossible. They don't have the strength to lift up fabric. But they're bloody smart, hence being educated. I don't know how I got sidetracked there. But yes, the US flag is absolutely everywhere. Again, this is not just something you'll see in films. And I think there's an understanding that Americans are deeply patriotic. How do you pronounce it? Let me know in the comments below. And it's not just outside of people's houses that you'll see these flags. You'll see them on the back of trucks. You'll see them hanging on sort of company buildings. Don't know why I pronounced it like that. And just sort of everywhere. I mean, it really is everywhere. Sometimes you'll see absolutely huge American flags, and you can usually see them for about 5 miles away. That way at least you know what country you're in. And so that's it. 7 outdoor objects I only encountered after moving to America. I just wanted to list those to remind us of what we're missing. I mean, admittedly, we're missing quite a bit more than those things. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS if you want more weird information like this. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. And as ever, a big shout out to all of my patrons who make these videos possible. Without them, I wouldn't have any of this. These videos wouldn't exist anymore. I would have given up 2 years ago. I certainly wouldn't have this nice new camera. So thank you again, patrons. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until next time, stay well, keep washing your hands, and keep watching my videos.
Well, I gotta say, I like that video a lot. I was trying to compare to Sweden. And when it comes to the water towers, we don't have water towers. We have a building called a water tower. It looks like a huge concrete mushroom, but it's actually a diner up top. I never thought in my life that this actually was, back in the days, a water tower. I have no clue. We don't have water towers in Sweden. We don't have fire hydrants in Sweden. That's basically the only thing that we don't have. White picket fence, we do have. Rare. Flags, rare. Amazing video. If you want to check out Lost in the Pond, the link for the channel Lost in the Pond, and of course the video we just watched, is available in the description. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I am Recky. You stay safe.